What is going on, Knicks fans? My name is Vigo Sportstalk, host of Vigo Talk Knicks. The New York Knicks have advanced to the second round, and we'll be playing the 76ers. First of all, I gotta get a shout out to the Knicks, especially Mike Brown, Cat, OG, Josh Hart, Brunson, Bridges. He's getting there. But everybody on the team, I gotta get a shout out to every single person, especially Mike Brown, because we did win game one, which was a pretty huge win for us. But games 2 and 3, where we lost by 1 point, that was all on Mike Brown. And I will admit that normally I would defend the head coach in losses like that, but those 2 games were horrible rotations. And unfortunately, we had to take Sham out of the rotation. And I love Shamit, but it's the playoffs. When you have a few bad games, you're back to the bench. That's how it is. But I'm sure when his name is called up, he will be ready. Think about how Jordan Clarkson was. He's known as a spark coming off the bench, one of the best bench players in NBA history. And he wasn't getting playing time anymore because he wasn't playing well until one game versus the Jazz. He scored 27 points and basically got us the win, and he was back in rotation. Moments like that, I 100%, I'm positive he will be back in rotation. But Jose Alvarado replaced him, and he's done a great job defensively. And like I mentioned months ago, he's not here to score 10, 15, 20 points a game. He's here for defense. And he's doing a really good job versus small guards. And I think versus 76ers, he could be very huge. Obviously, when you look at the 76ers, you got players like Tyrese Maxey, who's a really good scorer. So you're going to need probably your best player on him. So it could be OG. You never know. VJ Edgecombe, he's a very impressive rookie. Paul George, don't forget about him. He may be 37, but he's still very good at his age. Kelly Oubre, he's still a solid role player on any team. And then Embiid, we all know how Embiid is. Yeah, and now, about the Hawks though, like I said, I gotta give a shout out to Mike Brown and his rotation. Honestly, after games 3, Cat, I keep telling you, when you give the ball to Cat, when he's committing the offense, he's unstoppable. No one on the Hawks can guard him. And OG Anunoby, he's averaging 20 points. He's rebounding very well. Josh Hart, he's defending very well. Mikal Bridges, even though his offense isn't showing on the box score, his defense is something that needs to be talked about. So that's one thing I could take away. And all the bench players had a pretty good series. McBride, he had a few bad games, but his defense was definitely there too. So as long as you're making an impact on the court, which could be offense, it could be defense, that's all that matters. Now back to 76ers. We're gonna need basically everything because they barely made the playoffs going into the postseason. They were in the play-in, they beat the Magic, and they had the Sixers getting possibly swept or losing to Boston in 5 games. And they made an upset. The Boston was up 3-1, and MB, for the first time in his career, he won a game 7. Honestly, I gotta get a shout out to him, honestly. He's lost to Boston so many times in his career. I'm sure you've seen that quote. It's not a rivalry. They always kick our ass. He finally beat Boston, man. I mean, we know how it feels to beat Boston because he did last season in a great way, but that's the past. We got to move on. I was hoping to play Boston. I thought we'd be a better matchup, but it's the playoffs. It don't matter who you play. It's not. We should play them. We should play them. Whoever you're going against, you should play the same way, whether it's a good or a bad team. So how will the Knicks actually beat the 76ers? Because they're a solid team. Unlike the Hawks, they're pretty a physical team, athletic team. They got pretty good centers that could guard Cat. That I will admit. Because versus the Hawks, they didn't have a center that could, or anybody on the team that could guard him. And Embiid, he's not known as a defender, but I'm sure he could do a good job defensively on Cat. And Andre Drummond, Adem Bona, it could be anybody. Honestly, I don't know the Sixers bench, the rotation, because it's usually different every single game. You never know who's going to play. It could be a random player on the last guy on the bench that could get some playing time. That's how it is for the 76ers, but they're going to play their starters a lot. So that's something to keep in mind. They don't have a deep enough bench. It was like us last year, so they're going to play players like Maxey, Embiid, VJ, a lot of minutes. Also Paul George. Kelly Oubre, he gets 30 minutes a game, pretty average for someone in starting five. So we gotta be ready. So players like Jalen Brunson, you gotta keep the offense going. If he could defend, that would be amazing. Players like Mikal Bridges, we're gonna need some defense because from what it looks like, I would like to have maybe Bridges on either Maxey or VJ Eshko. Because now that I'm thinking about it, obviously Maxey's their best player, and you don't want OG on him. But you gotta remember, they got Paul George on the team who's 6'10". You gotta match the size. He can still shoot threes. He's good in the mid range. So if Embiid's not, if OG is not on Maxey, I would like OG on Paul George, and then Hart on Kelly Oubre or VJ, and then Brunson. Honestly, I don't know who Brunson can be on. He could guard Maxey and VJ, but it's just so hard because he got so many good guards on the team. So if Brunson can somehow play some good defense on either one of those two guards, that would be great. Then obviously you're gonna have Cat on Embiid. But as much as I love Cat, I feel like this is a series where Mitchell Robinson is gonna be the X factor. I'm sure you guys remember what happened a few seasons ago when Embiid injured Mitchell Robinson, which to this day it plays a huge role in why he's always injured. He wasn't injured a lot this season, but he's on injury management. He can't play back-to-backs. And Embiid is the reason why. So we did not forget about that. So Mitchell Robinson. And he did just get fined for his altercation with Dyson Daniels. So I'm sure Mitchell Robinson is going to be fired up during the playoffs. We should win the series in 6 games. We have home court advantage. Let's remember that. So the first 2 games, we got to win both. And I'm sure there's going to be a game on the road where we lose 1. So probably we split at their home court, and then we handle business at home. It could be on our home court or on their court. I'm fine wherever we end the series, as long as we advance to the conference finals, because this is huge for us. This is very huge. As I'm recording this, the Detroit Pistons are gonna play in Game 7, and if they lose, the Magic will advance. But if the Pistons win, they advance. So there's a lot to look forward to these upcoming playoff games. This has been one of the most competitive playoff games I've ever seen. 3 Game 7s so far in this playoff series. That's incredible. Shout out to every single team that's in the playoffs. That to former Knicks too, RJ Barrett. I'm sure you've seen that crazy bounce that got the win. I'm not gonna say who that reminds me of because I'm sure you guys know who. But shout out to RJ Barrett. And now to end the video. Again, shout out to the New York Knicks. Shout out to the fans. I attend some of the games. It was a great experience. And I'm hoping it goes at least 1 or 2 games this playoff series. I apologize for not uploading. I've been very busy with school. But I will be uploading pretty soon when school is over. So I hope to see one of you guys at the Sixers game. My name is Vigo Sports Talk, host of Vigo Talks Knicks. And I will see you next episode, Knicks fans. Peace.